Okay, so let's get right into it. There's this new AI app, right? It's launched by a massive influencer, and it promises to bundle all the best AI tools together for one single low price. Sounds pretty incredible, doesn't it? But almost immediately, it was just hit by this absolute firestorm of controversy, with critics calling it a total scam. So what's the real story here?
So, back in August of 2025, this app, AI Fiesta, launched by the very popular YouTuber Dhruv Rathee, made a huge splash. And the promise was super compelling. Get access to everything and save a ton of money. But the backlash was just as loud. You had competitors and tech communities accusing the platform of being, well, fundamentally dishonest. This really set the stage for a major showdown.
And no matter how you look at it, the launch was a massive commercial success. The company reported $3 million in annual recurring revenue and over 20,000 paying users in just the first 36 hours. I mean, that kind of explosive growth is exactly why we need to dig in and understand what's really going on here.
So, what even is AI Fiesta? Well, in the tech world, it's known as an AI aggregator, or sometimes, a little less flatteringly, an API wrapper. The key thing to get is that it's not a new AI model itself. Nope. Instead, it's basically a dashboard that packages up existing AI tools, letting you use them all in one place. It's a reseller, not an inventor.
Okay, so the first and honestly the most controversial claim revolves around the models themselves. This is where the debate gets really heated. So the big question is, what AI are users actually getting when they sign up?
And just look at the sheer power being promised here. AI Fiesta's website advertised access to 6 of the latest and greatest premium AI models. I mean, we are talking top-tier stuff, all supposedly available in one dashboard. This was the absolute core of their sales pitch.
But then, this bombshell accusation drops from a competitor, Ryan AI. In this really scathing article, they claimed that the platform was deceptively just using an older, cheaper model, GPT-4, for all of its responses, no matter what the user actually selected. That's a very, very serious allegation.
And look, this wasn't just a competitor trying to make some noise. Early users started testing the platform themselves. They would ask the model that was labeled GPT-5 a really simple question: what model are you? And very often, it would respond by saying it was the older GPT-4. I mean, that simple little test just poured gasoline on the fire. So this leads us directly to the second major point of debate, the whole value proposition. It's not just about what models you get, but what you pay for them, and crucially, how much you can actually use them. And this is where the math starts to get a little tricky. So AI Fiesta's monthly price is 999 rupees. With discounts if you sign up for a full year. A really key feature for its target market was including India-friendly payment options like UPI, which, definitely helped drive those huge initial sign-up numbers. Now, usage is measured in something called tokens, which are basically just pieces of words. At launch, the limit was 400,000 tokens a month, and critics immediately jumped on that, saying it was way too low. So, in response, AI Fiesta massively increased it to 3 million. But here's the catch. The most powerful models, the ones you're really paying for, they consume tokens at 4 times the rate, which cuts your effective limit for that premium use right back down.
And this brings us to that classic trade-off we see in technology all the time. Breadth versus depth. Is the real value in having access to a bunch of different tools you can sample from, or is it in having deep, powerful access to a single, specialized tool?
When you put AI Fiesta right next to a competitor like ChatGPT Go, that trade-off becomes crystal clear. Do you need to compare a bunch of different AI responses at once, or do you need to do deep, focused work with one reliable tool? One service is selling you breadth for a premium, while the other sells depth and extra features for a much lower price.
So, okay, beyond all of the marketing hype and the company's claims, how did the wider community, the actual users and reviewers react? Because at the end of the day, it's that real-world experience that truly matters, right?
One really detailed review from Desi AI kind of captured a common feeling. They praised the platform's convenience for testing models and for learning how different AIs work. But for serious, productive work, the recommendation was pretty clear: stick with dedicated tools. It's more of a tool for exploration, not necessarily for execution.
Technical analyses that were posted on forums like Reddit they were far more blunt. One highly circulated post just concluded that the service was poorly made, misleading, and provided very little real value compared to free or cheaper alternatives. They basically called it out as just a fancy website. And the criticism went beyond just value for money.
Oh yeah. Developers on Reddit also flagged some pretty significant security flaws shortly after the launch. This user pointed out that a critical API key was just exposed. That's a major security mistake that raises serious questions about the platform's whole technical foundation. So, after weighing all the claims, the critiques, and the user experiences, what's the big picture takeaway here? It really does come down to a fundamental choice that we're all facing in the AI market today. The entire AI Fiesta controversy really highlights this central trade-off. See, the service's defenders, they'll point to the ease of comparing 6 models at once. But its critics argue that this convenience comes at a really high price, both in terms of money and potentially in terms of honesty about the tech you're actually using. It's kind of like, using last year's phone when you paid for this year's model. Sure, it might still work, but you're missing out on key performance and feature upgrades.
And this really gets to the heart of the challenge for all of us in this AI gold rush. As new products launch literally every week with these dazzling promises, how do we tell the real tools from the fancy toys? The story of AI Fiesta isn't just about one app. It's a reminder to always look under the hood, ask the hard questions, and maybe even run a few tests yourself before you buy into all the hype.